Hey crafters, are you ready to make a unique fun fold? Look at this card. This is a fun fold that has a shelf on it that allows you to add some fantastic images. You're probably wondering, does it fit in an envelope? I'll show you that at the end of the video. So let's get crafting. Welcome to Technique Tuesday. This is Creative Moments by G, and I'm G. And today's card, we're going to cut it just a little bit different than normal. Our base card is going to be 8 on this short side. So let's go ahead and extend our arm on our trimmer and cut that to 8. And now we need to cut our long side to 5.5. And I want to remind you, all the measurements will be listed over on creativemomentsbyg.com. Just click on my blog. So this one's going to be at 5.5. Now we're going to make 2 cards together, and then I have 2 fantastic cards to show you using this unique fun fold with a shelf on it that allows you to put images and be really creative. So now we need to make some score lines. So let's go ahead and score, put it in long ways, and let's score at 4 1/4. 4 3/4, 6 1/4, and 6 3/4. So now we're just going to put our trimmer to the side. And we're going to take our base card. Now, here you see all the score lines. So we're going to put this down and we're going to fold into the card. So let's go ahead and grab our bone folder, give it a good crease. Do the same thing to this small one right here that we have. Let's go ahead and crease it. Find your next score line, crease it. And the next one is a very small score line. Now look at this. This automatically creates our little shelf that we're going to use to add our images and our designs. Now let me show you what stamp sets we're going to use. We have some fantastic stamp sets. Jungle Pals, Hooray for Surprises, and Painted Lavender. We're picking up a small branch for our little sloth right here out of Painted Lavender. And out of Hooray Surprises, we're going to go ahead and choose this really pretty sentiment. Now, the next thing you'll need to do is cut you some panels for this shelf right here. And the panels, you're going to need 3. 1 for the larger one, and then the 2 side panels. Now, what we decided to do, because we have little critters, is we're using this beautiful embossing folder called Fern, just to give us some of these leaves. Now, I want to remind you, I'm going to show you some other samples of this card, so you don't have to have these stamp sets. You can use the stamp sets that you have. But look at how we ran this beautiful garden green through that embossing folder. Isn't that gorgeous? Let's go ahead and just get that adhered to our card. Now, because this is a 3D embossing folder, it has lots of crevices, so you want to make sure and get those crevices filled with glue. So go ahead and just lay that down. And I'm going to go ahead and get these little strips laid down. This is a quick and easy fun fold to make that is just used for any occasion. Now let me show you how easy it is to lay down this little shelf area. you need to put your glue right here. Now you can use a tape runner or you can use glue, whichever you feel gives you the hold that you need, because you don't want it to come up. So I'm just going to put a bead right there of glue. We're going to fold it over right on this score line and just hold it. And that's going to make our perfect little shelf. You just scoosh it up and look at that. So the next thing we want to do is add a panel right here. Now we went ahead and we took some crumb cake and we cut this to 2.5 by 5 3/8. This will be laid down right here. This is where you can add your sentiment. But before we do that, we want to go ahead and stamp our sentiment, that beautiful sentiment that I told you we were going to use. Just going to put down a piece of paper so I don't get it on my workstation. And this is going to be a birthday card. Look at how pretty that sentiment is. Love that sentiment. Now the next thing that we want to do is we cut out some of these cute dies that's in this right here, in this Jungle Pals. Look at all the dies you can buy with this bundle. Oh my goodness. So we cut out some leaves, some of these leaves, and then the little critters. But before we can lay this down, I want to go ahead and lay down one of these just to make sure it fits perfectly. Look at that. Look how cute that is before we lay it down. So let's go ahead and do that. Now you want to make sure and put not too much glue, so you can just put a little bit of glue because you don't want it seeping out over the edges. So I just kind of dot it, add it right in the center, and look at that. How cute is that, right? So now we are ready to lay this down right as our sentiment panel. Now remember to stay with us, because after we create our second card, I'm going to discuss the card I showed you earlier, but I have another card that you will want to see. Okay. Now, you could also at this point, if you wanted to, turn it over and add a white page or a craft colored cardstock on the back if you needed additional room to add some more sentiments, but I don't need to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in the little critters that I have already stamped, and I'm going to color them. Now I have lots of blends that I'm going to use. We have pumpkin pie, parakeet party, that's our green, old olive, daffodil delight. We have pecan pie. We have so many blends, and you can use whatever color you want. But I'm going to go ahead and color our little alligator critter. Let's just pick this light green. This is parakeet party. Now we're going to bring in a little darker green for his little things on top of his back, right? Now you could also put a little bit of shading if you wanted to right here on his belly. A little bit right here. And if that's too dark for you, you can always go back in with your lighter blend and just go over it. And because these are alcohol based, it will evaporate some of the color and give you a really nice shaded area. Okay, and on our sloth, we are going to color him this light crumb cake and pecan pie. So let's just go ahead and get him colored. And then we're going to do a little bit of shading. Now we're going to come back in with our lighter blend, and we're just going over that dark area once again just to lighten up so that we can blend them together very well. So then it'll just show up as some shading. And you can do this with any markers that you use that are alcohol based. Okay. Now we're not going to use this little guy right here. We're going to now use the toucan, so let's color him. Okay, and we are just going to cut these out. Let's look at everything we have cut out using our dies. We have some leaves, because we don't know exactly how many leaves we're going to need. We cut out extra. We have our little critters, and now we're going to bring in our card and let's get this designed. We're going to add our little guy down here, but he is going to be behind some of these really pretty leaves. So I'm going to put this foliage right here on some dimensionals, and I'm going to have him right behind it. Now to pick up my mini dimensionals, I usually use my take your pick tool because it makes it so easy. And I'm just going to put this right on the bottom. Take the backing off. And we will get this put right here. Now, we have plenty of room to use our scissors to cut this off. But before we do that, let's go ahead and see where we want to place him. Now, it can go over just a little bit because I'm going to show you how to fold this so that it does fit in your envelope. So you can go over just a little bit, and I think we'll put him to where he's kind of coming out. So that means we need a few little dimensionals on his body. Okay, now we're going to add our sloth. So we have our branch right here that we cut out. We're just going to add it about right there. And he's going to be up on some dimensionals and then right there. So kind of like that. Look how cute that is. So let's go ahead and just add a little bit of glue right here in these two areas. We'll add him with some dimensionals. And next we're going to I think we'll add this leaf, and then we'll add our toucan sitting right on top of the leaf. So let's just glue this down right in the center so that we can bend our leaves up just a little bit. Okay. And now that we have everything added to our little shelf right here, we're going to go ahead and cut off this area that doesn't fit onto our card. Now look at how you fold this. You just go like this, and it folds. And you can see we actually don't have to cut anything off because it doesn't go over the card. And this just pops right back up. Now look at that. Look how cute that is. That is a perfect critter card for someone, right? Let's go ahead and move into our second card that we're going to create. Now for this one, we are using Lovely and Sweet, Notes of Nature, and Lifetime of Love. And we're also using this beautiful DSP. So look at the flower that we cut out. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh, so pretty. We've also cut out our strip. We have our panel here for our sentiment. We've already cut our base card, and so now what we need to do is go ahead and score it. So let's do that. Let's bring in our trimmer, extend our arm if you're using the Stampin' Up, put it in long ways, and let's score at 4 1/4, 4 3/4, 6 1/4, and 6 3/4. Okay, we can put up our trimmer because we have everything cut. Now remember what we do. Go ahead and put your area that doesn't have any score lines up to the top. Bring in your bone folder and let's crease it into the card. So go ahead and fold that up on the first score line and crease it. Find your next score line. Give it a good crease. Find your next one. Crease it, and finally your last one. This creates that little shelf area just like this, and it really pops it up so that you can add all these beautiful images. Now, we want to go ahead and add our panels before we glue down our little shelf area. So look at this beautiful paper that I cut out. Isn't that gorgeous? That's going to go right here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now I went ahead and left these little side panels black to make this really pop. So now let's go ahead and lay this down. Let's add our glue right here. And remember, you can use your tape runner or your glue, whichever you feel more comfortable and would give you the hold that you want. And all we do is we fold it right on that last score line and just fold over and hold it. And that will create our little shelf. And look at that. Look at how pretty that is. Has that little shelf area, but it's not too tall. So the next thing we're going to do is look at this. We're just adding this beautiful flower. Now remember, when you lay this shelf flat, that tells you exactly how far you can go because you don't want to go past the edge of this card. So remember that. So we're just going to add it right there, and I'm going to add it on some dimensionals so we can tell that we need our dimensionals right here, right down this center part. Okay, so we're going to flatten our shelf again to make sure we get it right in the exact place we need it. Look at that, so elegant. And now we need to stamp our message right here on this white cardstock, and we've decided to use some very scripty type font. Look how elegant that is, forever and always. So we are going to once again use our Night of Navy to give us a really dark stamp. So tap, 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 and just put it right here at the bottom. that gives them plenty of room to write their sentiment. But once again, you can always add white cardstock on the back of this card to give you additional room for your sentiment. So let's lay this down. And this gold paper just really picks up the gold that is in the flower. It's just a small border, but just enough to add that elegant touch. So let's lay this flat. Get in and center it. Now we want to add some jewels. We like to keep our count of our jewels to an odd number, so I went ahead and added 7. Now look at this. What do you think? Very simple. We actually were able to cut this flower out of the DSP, so we didn't have to color it. This is just a very elegant card. Now here are the 2 cards that we created today. Take a moment and let us know, of the 2 cards that we created today, which is your favorite? Are you more into the critter, the fun card, or are you looking for an elegant card that you can use? And really, it's all about the color coordination, right? So let's go ahead and look at all the cards that I wanted to show you. Now, here's the one that I showed you earlier. Oh my goodness, look at all the leaves and the flowers that we added to this shelf area to really pop it up. Wishing you everything wonderful. We created this on a white card base, so you really don't have to add anything on the back. You can actually write on it. So that's just another style. And finally, are you ready? Look at this gorgeous card. This hummingbird is just beautiful. And look at the 3D embossing folder that we used. He is headed straight for those flowers, isn't he? Enjoy your day. So of these cards, take a moment and let us know which is your favorite. I want to thank you for sharing your time with us today. We hope you were inspired by this Technique Tuesday. If you were, take a moment, share, like, and subscribe. Maudie and I want you to go out and have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.